Well, here we are, one more time. We're number 8 out of 10, so we're getting to the really powerful sections of the book now. If you're just jumping in, but just to remind you, we're doing Becoming a Contagious Christian. Classic book by Bill Hybels and Mark Middleburg. We're going chapter by chapter. This is number 8. We're actually doing chapter 11, Making the Message Clear. Remember, we had our formula, HP, high potency, CP, clear proximity, close proximity, you have to be close. CC, clear communication, makes maximum impact. You've got to give the message clear. Philip Yancey, in one of his books, has a story about a lady in Chicago who was a prostitute, about the bottom. She is down to using her little baby girl in her prostitution. Just terrible. She's sick, she's miserable. And someone said, why don't you go to a church? Maybe they can help you. And why would I do that? They'll just make me feel worse. Where did you get that picture of God, that picture of church? So if we're going to win people, be a contagious Christian, we have to somehow have a clear communication about what God is like, church, Jesus, and our message. So our mission is we have to make God look good. Satan has been telling lies about God for thousands of years. That's what he lives, eats, and breathes every moment, is to somehow distort God, even in church and religion. And it's up to us is to say, no, God is not like that, and make God look good by the way we talk, by the way we live, by the way we treat people. We are to draw people to Christ. Jeremiah 31, with everlasting kindness have I drawn thee. If I be lifted up, I will draw all men. It's part of us to draw. We are to be the fragrance of Christ. It says in 2 Corinthians, to draw people to Christ. Job, God got a little disappointed with Job's friends because they said, hey, God did this. God made you suffer. God took all your family and all your riches away. God's making you suffer. Curse him and die. And God had to say, you did not speak what is right of me as my servant Job has, Job 42. It's important that we speak right about God. So 4 areas. We need to give the clear communication about God. Many people have gotten a distorted idea about God from the Old Testament stories or whatever. And we have to say, Jesus is love. It starts here. God is love. Jesus is love. No matter what. That's all there is. And all the other stories and conflicting evidence has to bow and somehow be resolved and reconciled with this one overriding, dominating metaphor, one writer says, which is love. And they have to say, God was speaking to spiritual children back there in some of those stories. And doing the best he can in emergency measures to bring people to him all. But God is love. Be clear about who God is. He's holy. He's love. He's just, whatever you want to say. The truth about God. God does not cause suffering. He is only good. John 10:10. Thieves come to steal and destroy and take life. I came to give you life. We have to be clear. Life more abundantly. That's what God is like. We have to tell the world the truth about us. We're morally bankrupt. We can't change ourselves. We're all sinners. Wages of sin is death. That's reality. You are here, the maps say, at a museum or in the mall. You start there. Where are you right now? Then you can figure out where to go when you know where you are. We're morally bankrupt. That has to be clear. Christ. We believe Jesus Christ is the answer, the one the world is looking for, the one they're looking for. How do you know for sure? He said he was God. He's either Lord or he's liar or he's a lunatic. But he cannot just be a good teacher. He's one of the other 3. And we believe he is Lord. Look at what he said. People loved him. Children loved him. Crowds came to be with him. They were amazed by the authority in what he said. And 12 men were willing to die terrible deaths as martyrs because they absolutely believed that Jesus Christ rose from the grave and he is who he said he was. No one else has that story. The God of heaven has come down and died for us and taken care of our sin problem. Clear message about Christ. Number 4, you have a free choice. I did this tonight, just before I came here. I said, here's the message, but you have to decide. It's up to you. Are you in or are you out? Does it make sense to you? You want to step over the line? What do you want to do? 4 things. Well, obviously, most of the time, in order to make it clear, we use illustrations. I use lots of illustrations. I was right here in my office with a couple today. I probably told 10 stories. They began to grin. I said, let me tell you another story to make a point clear. And they get it. Oh, okay, I got it. So the stories in the book, illustrations, classic stories, do versus done. I've heard Bill Hybels tell this myself. He and his wife were on a little sailboat cruise in the Caribbean somewhere, came into a little isolated harbor, big boat there. They called out, come over for dinner tonight. They went over in the little dinghy, non-Christians, drinking and partying. Came time, they're getting pretty happy with the drinking. They begin to time to go back to our boat. They're climbing down the gangplank, getting into their boat. Lady standing there with her drink. And she says, hey, Bill, what do you do? Well, I'm a preacher. You know, I've always wanted to ask a preacher, really, you know, what do you have to do to be saved, to go to heaven? They're drunk. How are they going to remember any of this? You've got maybe 1 minute to tell everything. And Bill Hybels said, I grew up, Kalamazoo, Michigan. Everything was do. D-O. Religion was D-O. You've got to do these things. Do this, do this, do this, and then you can be saved. When I was 17, I was at summer camp, and someone explained it was not based upon what I did, but what has already been done for me in Jesus Christ. And it just burst my heart, filled with love, and I gave my life to Christ. Done versus do. The bridge, you take out a sheet of paper and just draw a simple, simple bridge. As simple as possible. I can do it right here. Here's me. Here's heaven. Down here is death. And we've all sinned. None of us can be perfect. We've all sinned. We're all going to die. Except Jesus comes in and he's the bridge that we go over. And he paid the price. I don't have to die. He died that death for me. Took all of my sins. And now we don't have to die. We can go over that bridge and go right to heaven. Simple as you can make it your own way. Simple, simple illustration. It has been used thousands of times on restaurant napkins, airplane menus. The Romans road, Romans 3:23, all have sinned, come short of the glory of God. Sin is falling short of the glory. God has glory for you, and you fall short. Wages of sin is death, Romans 6:23. But the gift of God is eternal life. It's just a gift. You don't pay for it. You can't earn it. In Romans 10:13, everybody who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. Romans road. Baseball. You think you're okay? You don't need God? It's like playing baseball. 5 years in a row, no errors. Every time a hit, batting 1,000, pitching perfect games. Who can do it? No one's ever been able to do it. The best they can do is 1 out of 3 make $20 million a year. None of us have been able to live it perfectly for a day or a week or a month. We're all sinners. We all need Christ. Baseball. The airplane. You can believe in the airplane. It's perfect. It's got engines. It's got a pilot who's not drunk or on drugs or going to go to sleep on the flight. But if you don't get on the plane, you'll never get where you're going. Got to get on the plane. There's 1,000 illustrations that make it clear and give the gospel to someone. Then you give your testimony. I used to be. I came to Christ, and now I'm like this. I was blind, but now I see. It doesn't have to be long. You give it in short little bursts. You don't talk about how you joined our Adventist church or anything else. How I came to Christ, and the simple difference God has made in your life. No one can argue with the story. Story touches people's hearts. Tell a story. That's how to make the message clear. God bless you all.